So,
all right. Well, to be honest with you, what I believe is the fact that we all are one. I believe in oneness. I believe in unity, and I believe in love. That's first and foremost. That's first and foremost. All of the attributes of the divine. That, and then after that, in regard to a quote that I really resonate with, that hits me deep, is a quote from Mook where he said that, well, they asked him, they said, what is real? And he said, that which is real is that which never changes.
That which is real is that which never changes. Ladies and gentlemen, right where we have a teacher, we have a spiritualist, we have an artist, and we have a newly accomplished author who is cultivated in the energetic nuances of New York City with personal qualities that I admire, like discipline, determination, perseverance, discernment, who endeavors to not only reveal the power available to mankind, but also share that power with mankind as well. Ladies and gentlemen, the host of Sauce Talk and also the author of the book, The Power of Perception. Ladies and gentlemen, Ihsan Mook, aka the Emeraldstxne. Yo, welcome, bro.
Greetings.
Welcome. Boom, boom. Yo, I love it. Yo, what? I want to know, first of all, The Power of Perception was a powerful book, bro. Like, what stimulated you or initiated you for you to write that book?
Well, it was actually the understanding of once you kind of know what your purpose is in this world, which I believe everybody kind of has the purpose of sharing information. When you learn something, you share it. That's the responsibility that comes with knowledge.
Yes.
So, just kind of being groomed into being who I am today, mashallah.
Yes.
I'm like, my father always told me, the more you give, this divine stuff, the more you give, the more God keeps giving you. The more God keeps giving you. So it was a will to uplift humanity and fulfill my purpose, which is motivating self-awareness.
Was there an actual moment in time that actually stimulated you? Like, did an event happen that stimulated you for you to write the book? Like, for example, did somebody say something where you're automatically like, you know what? I need to share. I've gotten to this point in my journey. I need to give this information.
Well, honestly, it was a collection of things, really. Like, it was a collection of awakenings. But then when that final, as they say, the straw that broke the camel's back, was when Ramadan came. Now, for those that don't know, Ramadan is an Islamic month in which we fast from the beginning of the day, right before sunrise, all the way to just before the sun sets.
Yes.
I wrote it during Ramadan. I would say I finished it during Ramadan because I was constantly adding pieces together, parchments, while I was on my journey.
Yes.
But then it came all together on that 1 month, because we're not just fasting from food. That's starving yourself.
Yes.
We're fasting from certain mental proclivities. We're fasting from some lower desires, you know what I mean? We're kind of staying in a specific element of remembrance for that long, and what the purpose of that is to raise our God consciousness, to raise our awareness of Allah.
So there was definitely almost like an isolation period where you were able to disconnect and reconnect with the information that would allow you to share what you shared.
Yes, exactly. It was a point because, within my spiritual path, there's points where we have to pray throughout the day, 5 times a day. So when we pray, we're literally tuning out of the matrix. It's like a mandatory tune out. Hey everybody, it's time to connect.
Connected being.
Yes, it's time to unplug from the matrix, come back, take a breath, connect to your source, and then come back into the matrix.
That's what I love about praying 5 times a day, where it's like you're constantly connecting back into the source. And so I feel like it's like people of the Muslim faith have that constant. We all have that connection, but you guys remember it a lot more. And you act in that. There's almost a sort of poise, a sort of almost confidence in how you move, and nothing really shakes you. You know, nothing really. There's no circumstance that'll have you jump outside yourself. Because let's say you prayed, you prayed 5 minutes ago, and you're about to pray again. It's like I remember the God that I just connected to. I remember that state that I was in. This is not going to shake me outside of the state of being that I am right now.
Right. I was just there. And,
I was just there.
I never left. I'm still drifting with it. So even the idea is to become more God conscious. Allah says in the Quran, not even to make this about, religion or anything like that, but just consciousness in general. Allah says in the Quran, the one that has more value is the one that has the most taqwa. And the word taqwa is God consciousness or awareness of Allah within everything that you do, all of your actions. So the more that you have that God awareness or that God consciousness, the more that you'll be able to elevate in your spiritual rank of understanding what this is. So this is why we do our best to constantly stay in remembrance. As I speak to you now,
yes,
I'm over here like remembering.
I see.
Bismillah, 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 Bismillah.
Yeah.
In my head while speaking to you and speaking with the audience, because we cannot let anything take us out of our circle, our connection.
Yes.
So we do our best to stay in that remembrance as much as we can.
Do you feel like the remembrance is also like an appreciation, it's like a gratefulness, a gratitude, a continuous eternal gratitude for being in this present moment and being able to articulate, even being conscious of the present moment?
Absolutely, because when you're tuning in, the question is, what are you tuning into? Well, we're tuning into Allah. We're tuning into the source of gratitude, the source of peace, the source of all light, of all existence.
What is perception for you? Like, what does it mean to perceive?
Seeing things.
Seeing things. I like that.
The way you see things when you're dealing with perception. It has to do with your point of view that your mind calculates.
Like, what is a scenario just to simplify perception for some people? How do you simplify? Because in the book you talk about objective reality and you talk about subjective reality, and a lot of people don't know the difference between that and how it correlates with perception. So is there a scenario that would simplify perception for some people, what perception means? Because you said perception is seeing things. We all see things. What is the difference between what I see in objective reality and what I see in subjective reality?
Okay, so subjective reality would be what you're experiencing personally. Objective reality has to do more with the collective.
Yeah.
So, for instance, it may get kind of deep in that. Okay, if you look at the concept of positivity and negativity.
Okay.
Positivity, by definition, is any energy that is unifying, synchronized, makes whole. That's what positive energy is.
Harmonizing. Okay.
Negative energy is any energy that breaks apart, negates, deconstructs. Objectively, let's say, like, I don't want to give no names because I know certain people are sensitive, but let's say there was a horrible army out there, right?
Yes.
Like an army.
Yes.
And the army dressed the same way and they walked the same way and they all went for the same dictator, right?
Yes.
And they loved that dictator.
Yes.
Now and that dictator, let's just say that dictator's out here just killing the heck out of people like dictators do.
Yeah.
Objectively, that's negative for the thriving of what this is. That's actually pulling down at the thriving. It's pulling down at the spread of what we are.
Yes.
But subjectively, if you're one of them, if you're looking at it, it's positive in the definition of positivity, which is unifying, synchronizing, makes whole. Like I said, they're all wearing the same thing. They're all going behind the same cause. Yes. So within the mind of the ones who are experiencing it, that is their subjective reality.
So do you think, is there like a collective mind?
Absolutely. There is a collective mind, and it's the one mind that we're all tapped into, where we all, it's like a reservoir that we all streamline thoughts from.
But within that example, right, does the army itself have a collective mind? So it's almost like a midway between objective and subjective reality. You feel what I'm saying? So objective reality is what not only the army is experiencing, but also the people who are of observance of the army. There's a subjective reality of the people within the army.
Yes.
But doesn't the army itself have reality as a collective? So it's almost like that midway.
Well, yeah, there is a middle point in where subjective and objective meet, and that's a very Zen place to be.
Yes.
Because the reason that we're separating these two reality concepts is for the sake of analyzation.
Yes.
But if you want to go beyond analyzation, it's all, and like we said, perspective and perception.
Yeah.
Then there is only one perception.
Yeah.
And that's the perception of the source, of God, and what needs to be done. You know, and then people's perceptions don't matter because now we're being spun by something deeper, which is a force of nature, which guides us where we need to be exactly when we need to be there at the right time.
So it's like, there's almost an orchestrating of all the infinite perceptions. So so you're saying all of our infinite perceptions is part of just one perception?
Yes. Well, they're part of one perception.
Okay.
See, the way that the gurus say it is that God wanted to come to know itself.
Yes.
And that it's basically utilizing us to come to know itself. Because if it's because when you're speaking about God, when you're speaking about the oneness, when you're speaking about the source, we're speaking about supreme oneness.
Yes.
That means that there is nobody else or nothing else. So in order to create the experience of having somebody else in the room or being with other people, the only solution then would be to separate itself within itself and make itself forget that it was one with the other thing.
Ooh, wait, okay.
And that's an ego.
Intake that, and that's an ego. And that's an ego. An ego is a separate part of God because God needed to separate itself, all self, so it could know itself?
Well, I would say that the ego, it's not necessarily a separate part from God because there is nothing but God. As in the Muslims, we say, La ilaha illallah, which means there is no thing but Allah. On one level, it means there's no God but God, but on a higher level, it means that there is no thing except the divine reality, which is Allah. So, in regard to the ego is is a tool. It is something that we utilize to have a quote unquote separate experience.
Yes.
It is the forgetful part of mankind that within the psyche that makes us think that we're different. But when we're really not. So
is it important to start from a place of unknowingness and coming to knowingness? Like in terms of, okay, so I'm a conscious human being, but I do not know I'm part of the all. To come closer to that sense of being, do you think it's important that we start from not knowing that we're a part of the all? Like, and
when you know, there's nowhere to go. I mean, once you know everything, it ain't really nothing to do except just be it's in a state of knowing.
True say.
I guess that's something to do, be in a state of knowing. But however, the spice of life comes in the fact that we don't know everything. And that gives us something to do.
Exactly, that learning
that's
experience.
The decree, of God coming to know itself. And it's utilizing you, it's utilizing me, it's utilizing all of these connections. And what the universe likes to do, this specific one, it keep on breaking into different fractals and fractals and fractals, so that we can keep on learning and learning and learning forever.
I love that continuous journey. I remember you talking about in the book about how we are an idea that's following itself continuously and eternally.
Yes.
Or we're just an idea. There's this constant flow. I want to start speaking about, you're talking about in the book, a universal flow, right? Mm-hmm. And when we move with a universal flow, everything in our life goes easier and effortlessly, and we're not moved by a sense of worry or anxiety. But there are people who resist the flow, and it creates disturbance in their lives. What would constitute moving against the flow? And from your perspective, what is the universal flow?
Okay, so the universal flow would be a force of nature that guides us down the path. It is the unraveling of the universe's evolution, and that we're a part of, and it's natural. It happens like age happens.
Yeah. Just
as what they call time moves, which is really just particles dancing with itself. That is the flow. The flow is. You know, they say in Tao, they say the Tao that can be named is not the Tao at all. So we can't really put a name on it, but it's an essence of continual motion that marches in majesty and proud submission toward the infinite. I got that from Khalil Gibran. But that's what it is. And then in regard to someone who is resisting, who's going against the flow, is someone who's resisting, who's trying to, like, it's like you get caught up in a vortex, right?
Yeah.
And the vortex is moving this way, but you're trying to get out of it. You're moving that way.
Yes.
It's going to be hard for you to climb because it's pulling you in the direction. It's pulling you this way. So you're over here trying to climb out of the vortex, even though it's more powerful than you because you're just knee deep. It's more powerful than you. It's going to cause more pain and strain on you to try to get out, instead of just trusting that is going to take you to where you need to be.
If someone wanted to move with this flow of the universe, someone wanted to move with this essence, this empowering, moving, momentum, continuous energy, what do you do? Like, how do I move into this flow? Like, how do I become a part of this essence?
Well, the truth is that we're all a part of the essence regardless. However, what we've been looking for is consciousness or awareness of the fact that we are, and how to stay in a state of submission to it. For me, my path is Islam. Islam means peace by way of submission.
Yeah.
Like, in other words, it's like, all right, we get it's flowing. We get that part.
Yes.
It's flowing. It's moving. It's vibing now. How do I want to participate? Because you got to participate. You're going to participate.
You're going to participate. It's just about being conscious.
How you want to participate. Yeah.
And like you said it. What was it? Your submission? What was that? You said
Islam.
Yes.
Peace by way of submission.
Peace by way of submission. So this act of submitting to this flow. So submission is the key to accessing this flow. The submitting to. What are you submitting to? Submitting to life? Like just submitting to what is?
You're submitting to the force of life. That's God. You understand that there's a guiding hand that puts you in the situations where you need to be. Now, granted, you do have the power to change your quality of life along the way.
Yeah.
But they ask the Sufis all the time. The mystics. They say, where you go, where you come from. They said from Allah. They say, where you going? They say, to Allah. All the while being in Allah. Like we never left. Where's there to go? So it's a resistance comes from, like, when you feel, when someone gets angry, is a state of resistance. They don't want to be what's happening right now. And they might have to express that, whatever, so you can flow with that as well. But with somebody, it's like, no, this is not what is. This is not what is. This is not what is. It creates anger. It creates sadness. It's another one.
See, but so that's interesting because in the book you also talk about. All right, so there was I'm skipping ahead, but you talk about Donald Trump and how what Donald Trump did to create his reality was that he ignored all the facts and only embrace the reality that he wanted to create. So it's like, okay, in one instance, you're saying, listen, don't resist the flow, submit to what is. And then in another instance, you're like, okay, to create the reality you want, you have to not look at the facts and look at what you want to internally. So where's the disconnect?
So the universe, even in the word uni and verse, is a paradox. It's uni meaning oneness, and then verse meaning many collected things. Like so, there is a part in the book where I'm speaking about, and I wish we would have just brought this analogy up from the beginning.
Yes.
Where I'm speaking about the fish, and I said that the fish are going down the stream. Now there's two fish. One of them is kind of going with the flow and is guiding itself down the stream. It's avoiding rocks. It's avoiding certain things because it's now the other fish is going against the stream. However, it can't even see what's in front of it. It can't see what's because it's. I mean, behind it, I guess now since it's turned around. But it's pushing with its gills. I mean, not its gills, its fins, and it's hurting itself to get to the other side. Even though it's going to end up in the same pond because the stream is more powerful than the fish.
Yes.
Now, the way people who manifest move is they understand what power or control they do have within this game. So they're going with the flow, but they're also, like I said, when the rocks show up, they know that they can use the wave to guide themselves around certain obstacles.
Yes.
But they still have the same fate as everybody else. And when I say fate, I mean the ultimate fate, which is coming back to source.
Coming back to Allah. So, in terms of, okay, so I'm a fish, right? I'm this fish, and I'm flowing, and I see this rock, and having this this consciousness that I am in the flow, instead of circumventing this rock, could I also use that rock as a stepping stone? Or I see it as an opportunity, not as an obstacle. It's someone who's more in the flow. So someone who's more in the flow, they would see an obstacle as an opportunity instead of an obstacle. Like, is that how you know you're in the flow?
Well, you can look at it. You can look at it also as like, all right, well, I'm getting my skills up as far as dodging things. Yes. But if you call it a stepping stone, then you're gonna have to grow some feet.
Yeah. Sure,
so,
okay, yes.
But you can every obstacle, yes, can serve as a means of growing and building depending on your perception of it.
Yes, depending on your perception of it. Okay, so I want to get into now we've kind of passed this point where I want to start getting into the three faculties, right? And the first faculty you talk about is imagination, and the way that you speak about imagination was amazing to me, by the way. You know what I mean? Like, it was, and actually say the direct quote from the book because it's amazing. Imagination hatches the mind out of the shell of tedium and monotony, thereby allowing us to stretch beyond the ceiling over into the celestial sphere of infinite possibilities. Woo! Yo! Bro, where you... I mean, you would...
I didn't even write that one. That one came from...
word. Where I hear that came from imagination. And so how impactful is imagination in your manifestative journey? You know?
I mean, without imagination, you don't even know what to manifest. Because as in the book, I highlighted you can imagination with your imagination.
I believe you said Shock a lot.
Who I just spoke to before I got here, and I'm glad that he's doing well.
Praise.
He taught me that. He said you can imagination with your imagination. I imagination, So magi magic is like you can utilize. It's a reservoir of infinite possibilities.
Yes.
But and it may come in dreams, whatever form it needs to. But as they say, a dream that's kept in the mind too long could eventually become a nightmare if it's not executed.
Have you ever heard of Neville Goddard?
Enlighten me.
So Neville Goddard is a spiritualist who says that God is all imagination, and that everything that we are experiencing in life began in our imagination before it came into being.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
I
What do you think about that?
I would say that in consciousness, I would say imagination is even a tool. And in consciousness, there is a point where we're even going to have to overcome even our own imaginations of who we are, why we're here, and everything that we see is concept and form. And we're elevated to a level to where we can even, the imagination even becomes a part of it.
What do you mean, like a part of it? Like a part of...
A part of the game. But the trueness of what we are is the awareness underneath, the awareness underneath all of this. So, for instance, I was watching some spiritualists yesterday, and they were speaking about, once again, as we said, what Mook says, what is real is that which never changes. So how many bodies have you been in just in this physical incarnation? This physical incarnation, we've had our baby bodies, we've had our teenage bodies, we've had our 20-year-old bodies, and the particles keep on changing. Our cells keep on changing. So the body I just had when I started this sentence is different from this one. Because the cells are constantly changing and changing in spirituality, or consciousness, I should say, in biology. There is no such thing as a small change. So the body itself is not who we are, but also the personality keeps changing as well. Because our mind keeps on picking up new things. The person I am right now, and right now, and right now, is it the same person that I am right now, right now, and right now?
So I want to delve into that. So you said, okay, the person, the body that I have continues changing, and that I'm not. You said I'm not my body. Like you're not your body.
Not my body. Well, the body is a vehicle that I use, or that we use. Just like when you go in outer space, you need a spacesuit. To interact. This is what we use to interact in this specific dimension. So it is not the totality of us, I should say. Neither is the mind or the personality, because the mind and the personality keep on changing and changing and changing and changing. So thoughts pop up in our head. We decide whether we want to follow them or not. But in order for us to even decide, we have to be aware. We have to be observing our thoughts. And then observing what's observing that. And when you get into that state, there are no more thoughts. There is only observation. There is only consciousness. There's only awareness. So you're being aware of your thoughts that come in. You're being aware of your body. And underneath all of that, you're being aware of yourself, being aware of your thoughts, being aware.
So it's like a triple. So being aware of the observer who is observing the thoughts.
Yes.
Oh, that's deep. I love that concept, and it's even true, because even when you say my body, you're saying my body. Like you're not saying, like nobody says I am body.
No.
You know, you say this is my body. It's like, wait, who's the mind? You know, it's like we are that energy within the body. You don't say I am car. You say that is my car. This is my hand. You know, so it's like the observer is the mind in the situation. How and to tie this back into imagination, why is imagination so important in terms of manifestation? I remember you said you iterated the point earlier on how without imagination you could not manifest anything, and it's like what is for you? What has imagination done for you in your life?
Well, the imagination is one's ability to have images or in their head or sounds or colors or whatever the case may be. It's the ability to have a concept. And I feel like it's one of the biggest secrets ever kept, because in school, I remember, especially in low income neighborhoods, they would like take the art classes and music classes out, because if people knew that what they were feeling inside could actually come outside and can build, then that would give a lot of power to a lot of people. And not everybody wants an equal state of power. So imagination, understanding that concept, taught me that I can literally see something in my head, like hold it in my head and let all the cells resonate with it, everything in my head. And because I'm experiencing this world from an internal world, it'll come from here to here, but there's a process.
So that next stage in the process, I believe it's the second faculty you talk about, which is focus.
Yes.
Now, to focus, what does that mean to focus? And by the way, I love how in the book, what he does is he breaks down the etymology of words, and it's an education within itself. For example, he broke down pretend, and I never seen pretend as in pre before and then tend as an attention. So paying attention to what you are before. It's an amazing concept. It's an amazing thing that he does in the book. Please purchase the book, The Power of Perception. Continue on. So focus is the one of the bedrock of how you manifest with your imagination.
Yes, it's the process in which, because you know how we said imagination is being able to have an image or have a concept, an idea. Focus is your ability to hold an idea or concept or image in your head. So you have imagination.
Yes.
You're having it. So, and I think we even speak in the imagination section of the Immaculate Conception.
Yes, I remember that part. Yes.
Being able to conceive that thought that comes from the divine, that comes from that one mind. And then after that, you're then able to hold that image, centralize it. That's the focus. Because everything, when you focus, it densifies an idea. Because when the frequency gets so consistent with itself, I'm talking about it starts to materialize.
Yes, it's like you're bringing the matter, the particles together of it. You know what I mean? Yes. You're slowing down the vibration. It's almost like your imagination is on this frequency, and then you're slowing it down, and then bringing it to the frequency of physical matter. Yes. Almost.
Yes.
You know, but in terms of that, so focus is what brings it. Can you speak about? It was interesting. You talked about how so the Immaculate Conception. You said it was like this part where you said the imagination is like the womb, and then the idea is the child. And what was it? Can you explain that? What was that exactly?
Well, you have the idea of the Immaculate Conception was a story. For those that don't know, was the concept of God giving a child to Mary, and then the Mary giving birth. So the way we get that Immaculate Conception is that we conceive something. We conceive of something. We have an idea, and then with our focus, with the trials and tribulations that it takes to even have a child, which is
exactly.
That could be likened to our focus.
Wow. I know. Actually, I think about it in terms of how hard it is to manifest sometimes. It's like, these are labor pains.
Yeah, you're having a baby.
You're having a baby. Like this idea, you're having a baby. And that's why it's funny because when we create these ideas, it really feels like our baby. You know, we take care of it like that. You literally have to nurture it as if it's a child.
And nowhere ever on the level of what women do.
Yes.
Ever.
Yeah. Shout out to the divine feminine.
Shout out to the divine feminine.
Y'all got it,
You've been at it. We trying to get it. Wait, y'all got it. But so just even that would be like it's a focus.
Yes.
And that being able to manifest. I think I put faith in there.
Yes, faith. Yes, faith. Faith is the third faculty. Faith. So you have this imagination, you have focus, and then to solidify that equation of imagination and focus, now you have faith in the equation, and that's what culminates into the manifestation. So, what is faith?
Faith. Faith is I would say belief in something, even though you can't see it. Even though you can't physically see something, you almost believe. English is weird.
Yeah.
No. Without physically having any proof.
Faith is knowing without physically having any proof.
Without having any proof. You just know. You're operating at a different state. You're operating at a frequency that is surpassed the physical presentation of things. And that's what begins to power or be the gas or the, of the locomotive. The fuel. Faith is the fuel.
Faith is the fuel.
It also is the
electricity.
The electricity under a train. Like what we said, take the F train.
Take the F train. And so I remember in the book you said take the F train. Explain what is a faith ticket? Like how?
So the faith ticket was a concept that was drawn out in regard to why I was explaining how one can take one can take a train. One can hop on a train, and when you're hopping on the train, especially like in New York City, places like these that have them, you don't ever really think you're not going to get into your destination. You willingly take that train with the proper intention, and it beams you over into where you need to be. So there's not even any cons. You just know you're going to get there for the most part. If someone who takes the train, so hopping on that faith train and getting making a faith ticket would be a physical representation of you manifesting a dream, basically. So you're taking a piece of paper where you can print it out or you can write it down, however it needs to look for you. Yeah. And you have your dream there. And
so you write out, I have a piece of paper or I print it out and I write my dream or what I want to manifest on a piece of paper.
In your arrival time.
Okay, in the arrival time. So that's the key, in the arrival and that's so specific, the arrival time of when I want to land in my manifestation.
Well, you better be specific with this world. Because this world is very, if you're not specific, it can reflect anything and everything.
True say. Yeah. Be careful what you wish for.
Oh, yeah.
So my faith ticket. And then I love how we talk about when you have this faith ticket, you wrote out your dream, you write on it, and I believe you said you look at it every day, you kind of, and it cements into your subconscious, right? But also you said, don't really show anybody your faith ticket.
Yeah. And I go on to say that it can prompt certain people to have certain thoughts, and those thoughts reflect toward you, and your subconscious can pick up those thoughts. So, for instance,
it's crazy. I've experienced that. Yeah. I've actually even experienced body language. I've experienced exactly, but you said your subconscious picks up their body language. It picks up their tonality, and later on, it manifests itself as doubt in your own dream.
Absolutely.
And you don't even know where it came from. And you realize your subconscious, it's not even your doubt, it's your subconscious being fueled by messages that you've seen earlier when you showed or expressed your dream to someone else.
Absolutely.
And I was like, yo, I've actually experienced that. It's amazing. I'm telling you, you gotta get this book. I mean, there's so many times realizations that I had where I had to stop. I was like, yo, this is so fast. And it made me really see things that I hadn't seen in my life and reveal things that I hadn't seen in my life, right? So you talk about, so imagination. So the keys to manifestation are imagination, the three faculties, faith, and focus. Okay.
Mixing of those things.
And mixing of those.
I wanted to mention one brief thing, because you mentioned the word doubt.
Yes.
And doubt is a form of faith. It's just faith misappropriated.
So doubt is faith in doubt?
Yeah, faith in the wrong things. Not the wrong things, but the things that you do not necessarily prefer about yourself. It's a belief system.
It's crazy because I heard someone say once that we live by two F's. It's either you live by faith or fear. And these are two unseens. But then there's no fear because fear is actually faith in fear.
Yes.
So fear has no substantive reality in itself. It only has the reality that you give it.
Well, when you're dealing with fear is another helper of us, and people very, very often, because of the ego, or maybe just not because of of where their perception is or their consciousness is at the moment. Fear is something that lets you know that you have some sort of belief system in you that is not concurrent or harmonious with your natural self.
So it's using that.
It's like an alarm clock inside of you. So every time you have fear, it's like bring, hello.
Hello, yo.
There is a belief system in your subconscious mind that is not in coordinates with.
It's almost like being in pain. Like when you put your hand on a hot stove, you're like, like it's your pain is good. It's like, imagine if you didn't have the pain, your hand would just sit there and just sizzle. You know what I mean? On the oven.
It helps if you're using it right, and even if it has to, and because of the eternal love that the universe has, that Allah has, it will keep on coming to you because it has to teach you something. It will keep on. That's love. The fact that the sun rises every single day, and it's just like every day it keeps giving and giving and giving. It just gives. And it will keep on teaching you those lessons until you have learned what you need to learn about yourself and you overcome it.
What do you think about the quote, it doesn't get easier, you just get harder? Well, it never gets easier, you just get harder. Like you can't change what is, but you change and that changes what is.
Yeah, I mean, you after a while, you just learn to deal with things. You're better. You learn to deal with things better because your awareness of what it is changed.
So I just got that lesson.
You're going with the flow.
Lesson, you know, what is and I love how you broke down. Okay, so after faith, you talk about confidence, and you broke down the etymology of confidence and said confidence broke down in the etymology is walking in faith. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah. Con like. If you're Hispanic, they have arroz con leche, arroz con rice and milk, or arroz con pollo, which is rice and chicken.
Yeah.
Con is a Latin word. Con, with. Fidem comes from the Latin word meaning faith. So fidem, fidence, confidence. So it's all about walking with faith, in that awareness.
How do I gain confidence? Like how does someone gain more confidence?
By continuously. First off, I would say this. You're really asking how to gain faith.
Yeah. Because a lot of people, like I've noticed that a lot of people have low self-esteem, man. Like a lot of people have distorted self-images. They weren't told that they could achieve anything in life, that they were champions, that they were kings and queens, that they were lights. That they were reflections of the universe. A lot of people did not have these empowering images until now in their reality. You know, we're like mid-20s and older. So right now, how does someone gain confidence right now?
Well, what I can say is there's many ways to answer that question.
True, sir.
Sometimes it can be the people around you.
Yeah.
Changing the people around you, and if you can't change the people's behavior. If you can't change the people around you, then change the people around you. So that's one. There's also the concept of continuous exposure in that thing that you want to build confidence in. So whether that's your true self, you're going to need continuous exposure in that. If it's say you want to play basketball, you need continuous exposure. I realized for me personally that I'm less nervous when I've been on my game, when I've been practicing through the nights.
Preparation.
And preparation so much of it's become a state, so it's just practice all the time. It's just practice. It just becomes your practice so that when you're actually in front of people, you're still in that same state as if you never left.
I am still in the practice mode.
Yes.
I'm still in that mode.
Yes.
I love the quote. So what you practice, what you do in public what you do in private will manifest itself in public. You know, no matter what you do, the self that you have behind closed doors will eventually be shown out into the world.
Absolutely. So what are we doing behind closed doors?
What are you doing behind closed doors? It's going to manifest. You think you're hiding. It's not. It's going to.
Allah is the source of what is hidden and what is manifested. So the source is manifest in all things, but it's also hidden. So you can try to hide, but you can't hide from the hidiest hide
Yes,
of what is
yes,
hidden.
yes.
And you can try to manifest or manifest, but everything is already manifested out in front of you. Because the source is manifestation itself.
Yo, I love the source of knowledge that you pull from and how you articulate your sense of being. Guys, when I tell you that this book is amazing, The Power of Perception, please purchase this book. I guarantee you that your realizations will open up, that you will enter a new state of consciousness, that you will enter a new state of enlightenment, that you will enter a new state of being, that there will be sciences that you didn't know before. He uses such good examples of, of things that are actually happening in reality where you can actually see your awareness open up. You feel DNA explosions within yourself as you're reading this text. Because what he says is that this knowledge is a scroll. That's what it is. This knowledge is an ancient scroll that is reprioritized for the modern day man. And it really is. And I promise you, once you read this text, you will enter a new state of enlightenment and consciousness within yourself. You will enter a new state of magnetism. People will actually be magnetized towards you because of the information that you are having in your thoughts or radiating outward. People will feel it invisibly, intangibly from you and will be pulled towards you because they want to hear the knowledge. They want to hear the consciousness. They feel this energy that is emanating from you and they want to hear it. You know what I mean? So, yo, bro, thank you. Thank you for coming into the channel. Thank you for adding your value. Thank you for your opinion. Guys, please purchase The Power of Perception. Is there anything that you want to say, man?
I just want to say keep doing what you love. Keep doing what you love. Keep exploring yourself. Keep asking questions. Keep giving. Keep yourself open to receiving. Remember your God, whatever that is for you, whether it's the spaghetti planet, but remember your source often. Stay in consciousness every day, every second of the day. When it comes to putting on your shoes, you're thinking about it. When it comes to brushing your teeth, you're thinking about it. Whatever that goal is, whatever really your goal is, keep it in your head 24/7, and inshallah, you will see it manifest before you.
Beautiful. Yo, bless. This is the Emerald Stone. This is Reverend Rah. Sila.
Assalamu alaikum.